Hello, everyone. My name is Melissa, and this is Senior Living Live. Today, we have a truly unique experience and opportunity to share with you, the viewer, as those who work behind the scenes to make our senior living communities really shine. So those are the designers, and they work tirelessly from just a simple vision all the way to the finished residence we hope you will call home. Today, the specific community we will be discussing is Arbor Terrace Exton in Exton, Pennsylvania, and it is beautiful. So we will introduce you today to the designers of that community, Meyer Design. They are one of the best in the business when it comes to the process of designing an exceptional senior living experience. And you will not only have a chance to meet them and to hear from them, you will also have a chance to ask some questions. Now, you can type your questions down at the bottom of the screen where it says Q&A. Feel free to do that anytime during our presentation today. But first, before we get to the team of Meyer, we are going to introduce you to somebody joining me right now, and that is Mike Haggerty, the Executive Director of Arbor Terrace Exton, which is slated to open March 2021. Mike, the floor is all yours. Take it away.
Thank you, Melissa. I appreciate it. And thank you for everyone for joining us today. We're very excited to offer this presentation to you with our partners from Meyer. Before I introduce our presenters, I want to just take a quick moment to talk about Arbor Terrace Exton. So we are a senior community, as Melissa mentioned, slated to open in March 2021. We are currently taking depositors, and we have model apartments available for tours. Our community is going to offer 88 apartments in 3 different neighborhoods: personal care, memory care, and something that is unique in the Exton marketplace, Bridges, a community specifically designed for residents that have early to mid stages of dementia. As I said, we're proud to bring this presentation to you today, and I'm excited to see what Meyer has in store for us. If you have any questions about the community, we're here 7 days a week. You can call 484-249-2055. You can visit us at arborterraceexton.com, where you can stop by our site, and we'd be happy to show you around. Now, without further ado, here are Shannon and Matt from Meyer to give us the presentation. Guys, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for having Shannon and I on the Senior Living Live program today. We are extremely excited and proud to be with you and give you an inside look on the new Arbor Terrace Exton. So just bear with me for just a moment. I'm going to be sharing my screen so we can bring you our presentation. So my name is Matt Whitteman. As Michael said, I'm the Director of Client Services for Meyer and our Senior Living Studio. We're a firm located in Ardmore, Pennsylvania, just outside Philadelphia. We have about 70 total professionals, founded in 1976, and started our senior living studio practice in 1998. Transforming the senior living experience is not only our motto, but it is our vision for the future. As a powerhouse team of architects, interior designers, we specialize in the senior living continuum all the way from 55 plus age-restricted communities through independent living, assisted living, and memory care. We offer architecture, interior design, FF&E procurement, and branding services. Meyer has been at the forefront of the evolution of senior living communities now for more than 20 years, including the changes in resident demographics, unit mixes, construction methods, amenities, sustainability, and wellness. Through our experience working with some of the top senior living developers, owners, and operators, especially the Arbor Company, we have a continuous drive for change and innovation. We understand the growing needs of residents, their families, and the caretakers and the staff. We know that a warm and inviting design often allows residents to maintain a higher quality of life, encourages engagement, and can build a vibrant community lifestyle. Wanted to go over just some projects that Meyer has worked on with the Arbor Company recently. Here are some in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, Morris Plains, New Jersey, Mountainside, New Jersey, Willistown, and Mount Laurel, New Jersey. And as we'll get into behind the design of Exton, we really like to tailor our designs to the community. So we do a lot of due diligence in the local area. We gather inspiration, and we make these buildings kind of blend into their surroundings. But we are adaptive as well. So you'll see some colonial styles, you'll see some empire styles, some contemporary styles, and Exton is another one to add to that gem of new properties for the Arbor Company. On the interiors, again, just beautifully crafted amenities, lobbies, and units. Here are some examples of some recent projects we've recently completed with the Arbor Company, from lobbies and dining areas to memory care, secure neighborhoods, all across the gamut between new construction and renovation. We work hand in hand with our operators and our developers, crafting every single piece that goes into these senior living communities. So let's jump into Arbor Terrace Exton and where it's located. So as I mentioned, Ardmore is right outside Philadelphia, where our headquarters is, and Exton is about 30 to 40 minutes west of Ardmore in Philadelphia. You can see on the left-hand side the Google map with the pin drop there. It's in Chester County, Exton, Pennsylvania, West Whiteland Township. Our site is located right along Route 30, which is also known as Lincoln Highway. Route 30 is a historic highway, formerly Lancaster Road, and it's a major transportation route between Philadelphia and the West. US Route 30 is not only the oldest highway in the United States, but it's also the first transcontinental highway. So there's a lot of history in this area, and it's a major thoroughfare with tons of development. You have residential, you have commercial, and it's just a bustling corridor out there in Exton. So it's such a great location for this project. As we get into the site, this is located in the Oakland's Corporate Center. And I hate to use the word corporate center because it's really not. It's really a mixed-use development. You have the Genesis Powerback Rehabilitation Center right next door, and you have the Collegium Charter School right behind this site. On the left hand of the slide, you can see an early site sketch of how we initially thought this building would lay out. But we switched the entrance and kind of moved it almost 90 degrees to allow for a better line of sight from the main traffic light at Oakland's Boulevard. And there's also an existing corporate center sign there as well. So we didn't want to have any confusion about where this building is located. But you can see it's right along Route 30. It's going to have a great presence along the street, some beautiful landscaping, and the architecture is just going to blend in well with the surrounding neighborhood. We get into a little bit about Exton as well and where we pulled some inspiration. Exton is full of amenities and things to do. There's an abundance of shopping, restaurants, nature trails, golf, malls, so much thing to do just in the Exton area. And you can see, it dates back all the way to some of these dwellings from 1750, the Ship Inn from 1796. But then you have some more modern and contemporary structures, the Eagle View Town Center, the Exton Square Mall, the Whitford Country Club. So we really spend a lot of time in the local community. We were lucky enough to have this project, as I mentioned, about 30 or 40 minutes away from our office. So we have a lot of folks that actually live in this area and know the surrounding township very, very well. So we're lucky to have this project close by and pull a lot of inspiration from the local community. I am going to now hand it over to our principal and senior living interiors practice leader, Shannon Ramalling, to really get into behind the design of how this building came to life. Shannon?
Thank you, Matt. Yeah, Matt spends some time there really talking about the local area because the local community is such a big part of our inspiration. In addition to working with our operators and clients and developers on what the program and the visions and goals of the building are, we really want to make sure that the building fits into the local community, both on the exterior and the interior design. So as we narrow in into some of the design elements, these are some photographs as we did tour the area and spend some time there that really stuck out to us and really captured the essence of Chester County. Exton, located in Chester County, is rich in traditional history. It's very much known for its farmhouses and that aesthetic, as well as its green space. And so you can see here some of the architectural details and the stone, the presence of the dormers, treatment of the shutters, you have some horizontal clapboard siding, some stucco elements as well. And you'll see, I would like to highlight here the middle row, the second picture from the left. You'll see there are still in ruin. And as we get further into the design, you'll see how that inspired an exterior space for us. But it's not unusual as you're driving through Chester County to see some of these stone ruins from traditional and historical farmhouses. So as we jump into the exterior design and how we applied what we were seeing here from the local area, we'll move into some of our exterior renderings. And you can see here how we did apply some of those stone elements, some of that stucco in the white, some of the horizontal clapboard siding in the green there. You'll see the incorporation of the dormers. So this is your front facade as you walk into the building, and as you flip here to a closer look on the other side, you can see the front entrance there. You can also highlight the patio above the porte cochere at the front entrance. One of the elements that we've always looked to incorporate into our buildings, but especially in a COVID environment, is exterior spaces and access to the outdoors on all levels of a building. So as we walk into the design further, you'll see that that's off of a key amenity space, the sports lounge. And looking here at the side facade, this is actually looking into our memory care wing, but you can really see the pushes and pulls of the building here and the design elements to really bring the building down to scale and to make it feel residential, right? We're designing buildings that people live in. This is their homes. And so we always want to keep that in mind. Now, as we talk about the exterior inspiration, we move into the interior inspiration. Again, very much the same mentality, looking at the local area. So we go into local restaurants, we go into golf clubs, Radnor Hunt Club, the Chester Valley Golf Club, and we look at what some of the interior elements are. You'll see some of the columns in the top left picture. You'll see how those are incorporated later on into some of our areas, the treatment of the tin ceilings. But we also look at some of these more traditional elements that are present, and then how can we make them relevant in today, make them fresh and bright and a little more modern. So we get to really twist some of that together. We thought we'd include this here. It's just an inspiration as we're starting to take some of that inspiration and start to apply it and sketch it as we're looking at the floor plans. And you'll see this later on in the rendering and how it really came to life. But just to give you a little hint behind when we're starting to sketch things and get a feel for the scale of the interior spaces. So I'm just going to take a minute and walk through the floor plans here. Again, this building is approximately 78,000 square feet, so it's a 3-story building. So you walk in here, this is your first floor. You have your main entrance. It's a 2-story entrance with a monumental staircase. Nice open floor plan. So to the right of you, you would have a comfortable, more intimate fireplace lounge where residents and families can gather. And to the left, you have a bistro area, maybe for breakfast or so forth there. One of the nice things is you walk in the front door of this building is you really pulled through to the main dining area, and it's all exterior glass on the back there. And so you're pulled through to the patio, and even further, you'll see a fireplace. And this is actually where we've replicated a ruin that I had mentioned earlier in the architecture inspiration slide, where we're going to replicate a stone ruin there. And so really speak to the local community. So there's units to the left that are assisted living, and then over to the right is where we move into our secure memory care area. Walk right in and you're greeted by a nice open and bright space for dining and activities. You also have a sunroom here. That's another incorporation we've really been seeing more and more in a COVID environment, especially in the Northeast, where you might not always be able to be outdoors, but that connection to the outdoors is so important. So we do have 2 Four Seasons areas off of this in this memory care wing that residents are able to find that connection. Us as humans are inherently connected to the outdoors, and so how can we really incorporate that into our buildings? We move up to the second floor. Again, you have your 2-story lobby there in the center, and off of that is a library area and tech area. So this is a great area where we really look to incorporate multi-generational elements into the building. So we do a little children's nook there. There's technology computers there. There's also more of a traditional library there as well. Off to the left-hand side is where you have more of your wellness suite and amenities. You'll have your fitness, your beauty salon, your wellness. And then there's AL residential units around that. And then off to the right-hand side is the bridges area that Michael had mentioned earlier. And again, a nice open dining activity space, their dedicated outdoor space, and then a Four Seasons room. And as you continue to travel through the residential wings, you'll see a nice open lounge area with lots of access to natural light. And then we'll jump up to the 3rd floor. We'll start off in our sports lounge. If you remember, I had mentioned we were looking at the exterior design, that outdoor patio. So this is the sports lounge area here. And then over to the right-hand side, you'll see the multi-purpose art studio and theater. Again, flexibility is a key thing that we're always looking in buildings for operators to be able to have small gatherings of people, large gatherings of people. And so these rooms are connected together with flexible barn doors to open or close. And then further down the right in the residential wing, you'll see some more lounge areas, a little more smaller scale, intimate, maybe a few residents on this floor like to gather together, but don't want to get together with the community as a whole. So flexibility, options, variety is a big part of what we're incorporating into our buildings. So we'll jump now. So we looked at the floor plan, we've looked at the inspiration from the community. So how does that really down now into bringing it to life, right? So that's what our job is then to bring it to life inside the building. And you'll see here some initial palettes that we have for the different areas. If you look in the lower right-hand corner, you'll see the sports lounge, and you'll see that tin ceiling, right, that was replicated in some of our local inspiration images. But then how can we take that and make it more relevant? So mix it with modern light fixtures or with nice, clean, simple wood flooring. The top left-hand corner is the bistro. So the palette as a whole, you can see is very neutral based, a neutral gray base, and then pops of color. And so you can see that represented throughout the palettes here. So now we're going to get into some of the rendering. So Meyer, we have a 3D visualization studio in-house, and so it really enables us to communicate the design intent to our clients and potential residents and families and what the building's really going to look like. And so this is a rendering of that front entrance I had mentioned in the floor plans, the 2-story lobby. Off to the right-hand side, you will have our club room, which we'll look at in a minute. And to the left there, where you see the archways, is where our bistro is. And if you remember early on in some of the inspiration images from the local area, the archways was an element that you kept seeing. And so this is the way in which we incorporated that. We even look it down to the very details of the artwork. So if you look straight through, you'll see that there was a collage of local artwork and so forth. So this is an image looking in to the fireplace lounge off of the main lobby. You'll see incorporations of the rustic wood beams in the ceiling, again, very much tipping our hat to the local area and the farmhouse and the historical nature of the elements as well on the fireplace. One of the things that we like to do here at Meyer, since we do have a collaborative architecture and interior design studio, is to really make the interior speak to the exterior and vice versa. It's really a whole story to us. And so you can see some elements like the horizontal clapboard siding. We've kind of mimicked that a little bit in the fireplace design there. Here's an image of the bistro. If you remember looking at those palettes, that black and white backsplash tile, you can see here how it comes to life with the millwork and a nice clean farm sink. And then jumping into the memory care area. Again, an element you had seen early in inspiration with the columns at the millwork there, very much came from the local area as we toured through it. And then to the right-hand side is where you'll see a 4-season space that residents are able to easily go out and enjoy themselves. So nice neutral palette again with little pops of color. This is that library area that I mentioned. You can see the technology with the computer stations there, as well as that children's nook I had mentioned in the back area. It's definitely become a favorite in some of the Arbor communities that we've collaborated on, and nothing's better than walking into communities after they've opened up and really see residents enjoying it with their families. This is the bridges area. So this is our bridges activity area. Again, nice, clean millwork. Some ways that we're able to incorporate nature into a building besides obviously access to outdoors is just with some of the elements and interior finishes. Whether you see the glass there having a floral design onto it or the artwork as well. So this is our sports lounge up on the 3rd floor that we had looked at when we looked at the exterior front facade with the exterior balcony. So again, some ways that we get playful with the local area. You know, we had looked at the Radnor Hunt Club and what ways could we incorporate some elements of that. You can see above the banquettes as well as the tin ceiling is what you see here. This area we're always looking to as we look at the next rendering, always look to incorporate the local sports community as well. So it really becomes a favorite area for residents to gather together. So this is a sales trailer right now on site where you could see Michael and his team as a sales trailer. And so we really set this up to be an area that really looks and replicates what the existing building will look like. So you can see even in the left-hand, the left photograph, you can see that same tile that's going to be in the bistro in the here. This furniture will actually be furniture that moves over to the community as well. Some of the artwork here that we really like to do is local postcards, right? Historic postcards, things maybe residents might remember from earlier on in their lifetime as well. The model units are outfitted to really help residents and families as they come to really envision what this could look like if they were to live here. And so you're able to go through 3 of those and really start to vision what that could look like for you. And so here's a video of the project on going through construction right now. As I had mentioned earlier, we are looking at a March 2021 opening.
So this is Matt Whitteman again from Meyer. Again, building's coming along great. Thank you to IMC Construction for sharing this drone footage with us. We're extremely excited to get this building open, as I'm sure the Arbor Company is as well. It's coming together really nicely right there in Exton along Route 30 in the Oakland's Corporate Center. And please stop on by and see Michael and the sales team to go check out the new sales center and the model rooms. They are open right now. So this building is coming together, and we can't wait to share it with all of you when it's finally open.
Great job, Matt, Shannon, and Mike. We appreciate you guys certainly taking the time out. And now everybody, they are available for questions. So this is a really good time. Bottom of your screen, again, there's a little button that says Q&A. You can type out your questions there, and I will read them to our participants here today, and we will get some answers to all of your questions. So I also have a reminder to everyone here. I want to let everybody know that every one of you watching today will receive a sneak peek of our finished models. You saw some pictures there courtesy of Shannon. Those models are gorgeous. I was at the community last week. They were open and ready to show on Friday, ready for tours now. You will be some of the first individuals that will have a chance to see the inside of the building. You will get a sneak peek video link as well as the link to this webinar in your email tomorrow. So that will go out to all participants viewing this webinar here today. And we certainly appreciate you all taking the time to join us. So now, without further ado, we will open it up for some questions. And I think we've had some questions already answered. So Jim had quite a few questions. He was looking for some quantitative info, and I know that there was certainly some answers out of that presentation there, such as square footage. But he wants to know how many beds in each, or how many apartments, I guess, will there be? He also wants to know, guys, was it an easy site or was it difficult? Were there retaining walls? How was the earth, the kind of dirt that you were moving around? I mean, was this an easy site to work with? And again, some quantitative information, if you could share that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the community is about 86 units. And so that's the first floor. The majority of that, usually in the mid-20s, is memory care. There are at this community a few first floor AL residential units. The second floor, again, majority bridges with a few personal care units as well. And then the third floor is all personal care. So as far as the site goes, it was a relatively flat site and easy to work with here. So sometimes we get sites that there's a lot of earthwork to do and on hills and so forth. We were fortunate. This was a relatively flat site and easy to work with.
Fantastic. Another question we have comes from Anonymous, and they want to know the size of the resident rooms or the size of these apartments.
Yes, so if you were able to go to the model units, you'll see that there are different size units. So we have some studios, we have some 1 bedrooms and 2 bedrooms, and there are some variations within each of those as well. But you're looking in the 300 square feet for some of the studios, and then looking in some of the 400s, upper 400s, low 500s as you get into the larger studios.
Sure, yeah, and you will get to see that in the video that we will send out tomorrow. These are gorgeous. I mean, the flooring is beautiful. The colors are beautiful. I think you're going to be really hard pressed to find another community like it. Certainly not as new when it does open in March of 2021, but it is very beautiful. And I urge all of you, if you are in the area or have an opportunity to get out to Pennsylvania and are interested in the community, to take a look. So another question here, and of course, everybody wants to know what's the price, and I will open that up to Mike.
Sure. Our pricing information, that's something that if you give us a call or if you visit us in the trailer, we'd be happy to go through. So pricing ranges from room to room, from size, whatever neighborhood it's in. So that's something that we'd be happy to discuss on a one-to-one level.
Sure, and it's dependent on care, what kind of care you need. And that leads us to the next question. Song, and I'm sorry if I am mispronouncing your name, but the question is it for all people who need special care? And then they asked again the price ranges, and that is determined on the kind of care you need. Sure.
So again, we have 3 different neighborhoods of senior living. So personal care, memory care, and our Bridges neighborhood. So the range of care that's provided ranges from a very independent senior who would want to live with us to someone with some extensive memory care needs and everything in between.
And Mike, can you explain a little bit about what the Bridges neighborhood is?
Sure. The name, there's so much in the name, right? So you think of residents who would live in a personal care setting who are relatively independent with some medical nursing needs that are met while living in that independent living. You think of individuals who may need some memory care services with a dementia diagnosis that have some pretty extensive needs. And where the Bridges name comes into play, you think of the bridge between those two settings, custom designed for individuals that have a dementia diagnosis, but it might be more of a early to moderate stage of that. So it's specifically designed for those individuals.
Great answer. Thank you so much, Mike. Jim has another question. Jim, you are doing excellent with the questions. Keep them coming. Jim wants to know what is the hard construction total cost? And I think that might fluctuate because we're still in the construction process. And he also wants to know total square footage of the building. And I'm not sure who to throw that up to.
Yeah, I can take that.
Okay.
Yeah, so the building, again, it's 3 stories. We're looking at about 78,000 total square feet of the building. And hard construction cost totals is somewhere in the mid 20 millions, about 24 million.
Great. Great answer. So that was nice, short, and concise. Excellent. So Jim, we got some answers for you today. I love it. All right, so we have another question. And again, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. Bappa, I believe, wants to know, will there be any walking or nature trails that could be used to take away from being on a major roadway? She says, for my husband who is handicapped with Parkinson's, what safety measures are in place, such as railings and bars in the bathroom? So a 2-part question there.
So as Matt mentioned earlier when he was talking about the site, we are in the corporate center. And again, we use that word loosely because when you're actually on site at the community, it feels much more residential than that. But there are walking trails and it's a great local surrounding community. There's a daycare nearby. So there's definitely opportunities to get outside and have some walking paths in addition to the exterior spaces that the community is providing. And I believe part 2 of that was more of the safety features. So a big part of my specific focus at Meyer is really that human interaction with your built environment specific to seniors. So how can we make this a wonderful place for them to live, but also a safe place for them to live that really enhances their lives? So absolutely, the features have been looked at, as I mentioned, railings, grab bars, even the lighting. We're looking at how we do the lighting as seniors' eyes are different as they age. So lots of components going into that. Flooring transitions, right? There's nothing worse than having all of these spaces that is difficult for people to get in and out of. So we really look at every detail, not just how does this become a wonderful place to look at, but how's it a wonderful place to actually live and be inside of.
And to your credit, Shannon, and maybe you and Matt can talk about this, but Meyer Design, it's not just a group of people sitting in boardrooms drawing up designs for senior living and not really having any clue as to what senior living entails. Shannon, I know that you guys actually take the time and you'll spend the night, you'll stay overnight and actually talk to the seniors in communities to find out, well, what could we do different next time, right?
Yes, absolutely. That's a big part of what we do is going into the buildings afterwards. As you mentioned, we sleep over, we spend time there, we have dinners with staff and residents, because it's a two-part, right? How does it work for the residents and how does it work for the caregiver? And really hear what's working, but also what's not working is just as important.
Excellent. Very good stuff. So we have the questions coming in. So guys, get some water if you need some right now. So our next question, let's take a look at this. So we have changes with COVID. Obviously, that is something that many people are concerned about. And I know you touched on it just a little bit, Shannon, in terms of outdoor space with COVID in mind. But maybe both sides here. Mike, you can talk about what you're doing in terms of COVID there at the community right now. And Shannon and Matt, ways that that has affected design.
Well, I can take that rather quickly from our vantage point. So an advantage of opening in March is that that's a year-long period of time where our organization, the Arbor Company, has had a year of lessons learned in the era of COVID. So there are numerous ways to prevent and to deal with COVID as we move along here. But we're in a situation where as we open, we have that history and that experience to help guide us.
I can speak to some of the elements that we've adjusted due to to COVID on the interior environment. As Melissa mentioned, I talked about some of the access to the outdoors, but we're also looking at mechanical systems. We're looking at some of the details as you get into the building as well, as far as touchless, right? Touchless elevators, perhaps, touchless plumbing fixtures, touchless doors, things that you can wave to get into instead of actually having to touch. We're looking at high touch surfaces and what that material is and antimicrobial properties that it can have. We're looking at antimicrobial paints as well. We're looking at how we even do our furniture. More individual seating versus group seating. So there's that flexibility to be separated and have 6-foot distance if needed. So those are some of the elements that we're looking at, down to the fabric on the chairs that it can really withstand the cleaning protocol that now is happening.
Great. Excellent answer. And before we get to the next set of questions we've got, I want to just say that BAPA has said, thank you for your answers. This is a terrific presentation and we are blown away by the attention to detail in the design by Shannon and Matt. Also, a shout out to Zoom for making presentations really convenient and dynamic. So great job, everybody. And the questions continue to roll in. So we'll get to the next one. Anonymous has written in, how supportive was the township with the land development and a program of the building?
Yeah, they were fairly supportive of it. It was not a tough process to get through with the local area. They were excited to have the building be part of the community.
Excellent. Okay. And the next question, were any special design considerations given based on the pandemic related to finishes, HVAC, and flexibility of room design?
Yeah, so we touched on some of that. Certainly, we talked about some of the flexibility of the spaces. So in communities, you want to have spaces where you can gather large groups, right? But with the pandemic, that might not be an option now. So we do, as we create large spaces, we also create the ability for them to be divided into smaller spaces. So that's an example of the flexibility. Some of the other things we mentioned earlier was just the fabrics, even the flooring, the paints, and antimicrobial features of that.
Yeah, and I like how every square inch of space is thought out. There is nothing wasted here, and I think that it's so clever, and you don't even recognize that when you walk into the building, but every single square inch has been thought of. So another question here, and this maybe is for Mike. What can you say about staffing for the community?
Sure. So at the moment, we are hiring some leadership positions. And when it comes to direct care staff, dining staff, you name it, those positions will come on board in the new year in 2021.
Great. And Mike, keep your mic open, your microphone open.
I say.
What hospital, what hospital will be affiliated with this community?
So I see there's kind of two questions similar back to back, so I'll kind of answer them both at the same time. So as far as affiliations go, we will work with hospitals that are close by. The two closest that are top of mind would be Paoli Hospital and Chester County Hospital. We're kind of situated between the two. And in terms of medical facilities outside of that, you can't see me pointing, but I'm pointing to a window and I'm looking at Powerback Exton, which is right across the street from us. So those are a couple that come to mind.
If you have questions, feel free to type them in. This is going very well with the rapid fire. The question here, what company will provide meals?
And I'll take that one. And that answer is us. We will provide the meals. We'll provide 3 meals a day, snacks, you name it. That will be provided by the Arbor Company.
I have a question, and this could be for Matt, it could be for Shannon. How do you keep senior living designs fresh? And the second question to that would be, what is the latest and greatest in senior living right now?
You mean besides Arbor Terrace Exton?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes, absolutely. Arbor Terrace Exton is the latest and greatest, without a doubt, Mike. But what Meyer does to stay on top of trends is certainly speaking with our collaborative owners and operators. I mean, they're on the forefront of these things, as we are as well. So they're continually pushing us to drive change and innovation in our designs. In addition, we're attending national conferences. We're on panels. We are submitting white papers and speaking engagements. So we're doing our own homework as well, but it's a collaborative effort with our owners, our operators, all of our partners, our engineering partners on this project in particular. Ballot Engineers has been fantastic, and our construction partners, IMC. We've done 4 senior living projects with them, including this one at Exton. So it's Meyer, it's our design partners, but it's also our owners and operators we work with.
Yeah, and a lot of experience under your belt in senior living, having touched on upwards of 100 buildings or communities to this point. So these are people who know exactly what they're doing. Thank you so much for that answer, Matt. The next question, will you provide transportation services to residents?
The short answer is yes. We're going to have a van on site that we will be able to utilize for residents, as well as a car on site that will be able to offer those services for residents. So that answer is yes.
Fantastic. And then one more question I have here. Will there be on-site therapy, an on-site therapy provider?
Yes, we'll have an on-site therapy provider. We are working through the details of who that will be at the moment. But we do have a therapy and rehab space on the 2nd floor, and we're very excited to offer that.
And for the team at Meyer, I know that each one of these probably feels like your baby. Each and every time they're like children. How special is this community, considering it really is in your backyard?
Yeah, there's definitely something special about this one being so close to home. But they all have their own design story, and Exton is no different. And you really become invested in the project. I mean, these projects live with us for at least 3 years from start to finish. And so it's something near and dear to our heart. And we're excited to bring it to life for everyone to enjoy.
Great. Excellent. Well, I think that will wrap up the Q&A session. So again, thank you for all of those of you watching for throwing in the questions. Some really, really good questions here today. And of course, Meyer Design, we thank you for joining us. Mike, we thank you for joining us. And just a reminder to everybody once again that the sneak peek video will be sent to you via email, as well as a recording of this webinar. You will receive all of those items tomorrow in an email. If you have any questions, certainly feel free to contact the community. Mike is there, as he said, 24/7, ready to answer your questions that you may have. Certainly cost is one that he can discuss with you depending on your needs. So that will be a different range for everybody. But we certainly appreciate everyone for joining us today here for this webinar with Meyer Design Team and with Mike over at Arbor Terrace Exton. So thank you so much for joining us, everyone. As always, have a great day, everybody.